Right-wing media and conservative pundits are furious over Kamala Harris's lack of sit-down interviews with the media. And on CNN, a Republican strategist named Brad Todd decided to get into it with Amisha Cross, a former communications advisor for former President Barack Obama, over her lack of interviews.
She's not answering questions about. We know her position. She's against fracking. She's against private health insurance. She's against gasoline cars. That's what she told us when she ran for president last time. She doesn't want to talk about those positions. That's why she's stalling it.
And she should do an interview. I'm just politically saying, Brad, and you have to acknowledge that it hasn't been that bad to this point.
She's going to show up. It is coming.
She'll show up at NPR or somewhere like that, but she's not going to take tough questions. She's going to show up on a network,
and she's going to have a sit-down conversation. She has already said, her campaign has already said that that's going to happen. If you're waiting for the date, everybody else is waiting for the date.
It's a month.
Oh my God, a month, it's a month. Ah! Here's the thing. I'm not bothered at all that she's not doing a bunch of media sit-downs. Like, why? Why? It's because I know she's not going to get any real questions if she goes on cable news. Here's how it's going to go. If she gets interviewed by Fox News, which is unlikely, but okay, if she does a sit-down with Fox News, guess what they're going to do? They're going to do the same talking points that Todd just said. Oh, you're against private insurance. You're against fracking and gasoline. You want to ban gas cars. No, you're going to ban private insurance. No. So that's in relation to Medicare for all. So in 2020, she claimed to be in favor of Medicare for all. She really wasn't. She quickly abandoned that position. She never wanted it in the first place, okay? What she was trying to do is trying to compete with Senator Bernie Sanders, who was at that point in the time doing very, very well in the race. In fact, they were, the establishment was incredibly scared of having Bernie Sanders run away with the nomination, so much so that Barack Obama made some calls, got some people to drop out, and back behind Joe Biden, right ahead of Super Tuesday. Bernie lost Super Tuesday, and then ended up losing the 2020 nomination, and then that's why we got Joe Biden. So now Harris couldn't really occupy, at the time, the left lane. Bernie Sanders was already there. And so her support for Medicare for all was actually pretty hollow. So trying to hit her on that is incredibly dishonest, and actually points out another weakness in Harris is that, yes, she has changed positions. She doesn't actually have currently the position of I'm against private insurance. Now, as for banning gas cars, complete and utter falsehood, right? That's an industry talking point from a group of refiners, like literally paid for by gas companies themselves. The American Fuel and Petrochemical Manufacturers Group has launched a $3 million swing state ad buy claiming that Kamala Harris would seek to end sales of gas-powered cars. Based on what? Just trust us, bro?
Just forget about the evidence.
Okay, that's not what she's calling for. That's not even what the Biden administration is calling for. Nobody's calling for that, okay? Nobody real. Current federal regulations and policies do not ban gasoline-powered cars. Now, what they do seek to do is to phase them out in favor of EVs. And they plan to do so not with banning gas cars, but like, hey, we're going to give you rebates and tax incentives. We're going to make things cheaper, and we're going to make it, look more attractive to buy an EV. And that's what we're going to push towards. All right. Now, Republicans, the right wing, they see that and they're like, oh no, can't do it. Oh my God, they're going to go ban your gas stoves too. No, they're not. No, they're not. It's the same kind of nonsense freak out. Here's what's interesting though. Turns out, according to experts, EVs, when it comes to fuel economy, when it comes to filling up, it's actually cheaper to charge an EV than it is to get gas. So you'll actually end up saving money. In fact, according to CNET's auto and EV expert Antoine Goodwin, quote, I find that charging an EV is less expensive than filling up a gas-powered car, even in my neck of the woods, California, where we have the second highest energy rates in the US. So they have high gas prices in California, and they have high energy prices in California. And still, when you do a comparison, it is cheaper to fuel up an EV, to recharge it, okay? Now, according to averages from government data sources, CNET, did the math and found that on average in a year, and this is just not California price, this is average across the US, right? That it actually costs about $1,400 less to charge an EV than it is to gas up your car. See, you can see that analysis from CNET, where you end up actually spending about $66 on charging up your EV. So you're actually saving money. Of course, your mileage will vary depending on your energy costs, gas prices, etc. And of course, there's also the charging station costs. There's that. But then there's also, of course, things like tax breaks and incentives. All right. But anyway, getting back to the point, Kamala Harris is not banning gas cars. That's just a lie from the companies that produce gas cars and don't want competition. Now, that said, that's some of the stuff that you would see on Fox News, questions that she'd be hit with. If she went to MSNBC, she'd end up being served, softballs. And we wouldn't really get a whole lot of substance out of that either. And if she goes on CNN, or basically any other real mainstream outlet, she's going to be constantly bombarded with the question of, how are you going to pay for that? For any of her social policies, like the child tax credit, for example. So that's because millionaire hosts and massive corporate news outlets, they would be affected by some of her proposed tax increases. And I got news for you, they don't really want that. Okay, so that's why they're going to ask her that question. At the end of the day, it's not really going to matter, what she says in a sit down with the media, okay? Because again, it's going to be basically the situation that I just outlined, and would actually just produce more fodder for Republicans and the news cycle. That's how it works. Now, that said, I would love to see her sit down with an independent outlet, one that is not corporate run, so that she could answer some real questions. I would love to hear her real plans, her real thoughts on Gaza. That said, establishment politicians, and that's what she is, they're never going to do that. They're not going to sit down with independent media because we are considered to be too adversarial. So there it is. I mean, like it or not, those are her reasons why she's not exactly in a rush to sit down with cable news outlets, and considering how it's actually going for her when it comes to this election, don't really blame her for that position. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.